Hi, today is January 27th, 2010. We are doing a swing analysis for Collin. The first thing we want to look at is Collin's setup. You'll notice he has a nice wide base. His weight is evenly balanced between his front and back side. His front toe is slightly open. We'd like to see Collin perhaps open that front toe up just a little bit more. This will enable him to get his hips open quicker into the swing. Last thing to look at is his hand position. Collin has a tendency to have his hands a little too far forward, but he's working on a pre-tap swing move, which he's focusing on getting his hands back as he comes into that pre-tap move. So let's evaluate how he's progressing with that pre-tap move. We're going to put two lines, one at where his front foot is starting, one where his hands are starting. And we're going to take Collin through to that tap position. So we'll see Collin's coming up, and boom, he hits a tap. Now let's review where he has moved. His front foot is moved back slightly. We want to change that. Collin should be stepping directly towards the plate or even slightly forward. We never want to have any backward motion. But on the positive side, Collin's hands have come back quite a bit, maybe 6 inches or so. So he's already starting to stretch the muscles, get some coil on his shoulders. Next, we're going to review if Collin has any backward sway in his coil move. So we're going to look at Collin going from coil to short, and I will stop the video when he gets to his short position. So you see Collin is coiling here. Front foot has hit the ground. We move back just a couple of frames. We'll see where that front foot hits the ground. And you notice there wasn't any backward motion, so Collin has good motion. So I want to focus on what Collin's shoulders are doing while he's in the stride. So I'm going to slow this down a little bit. And at this point, Collin's shoulders are in this position. And as Collin is striding forward, you notice he increased the angle of his shoulders. So he added even more coil and more torque in his swing. So that's all a very good positive move. Now moving Collin into the short position. Right here. Bat plane. Swing axis. You notice the bat plane pointing up. Swing axis is perpendicular to that bat plane. The one thing I see is Collin has a slight bend in his knee. So if I drew two lines, actually he's from here to here, and then from here to here. We'd like to see Collin's knee locked at this position. His hips have been fully rotated. You'll see his toe is pointing towards the pitch. His front toe could be opened even a little bit more to allow his hips to rotate sooner. Okay, moving Collin to contact. There's contact position, excellent contact position. He's maintained a strong hitting box. Back elbow is tight to the body around the rib cage. Front arm is higher, front elbow is higher than the back elbow, and you'll see the bend in the front arm. Now this is where Collin's swing breaks down right after contact. So at this point here, we'd like to see Collin moving into an extension between this frame and the next frame. And you notice Collin flips the bat over. So if I toggle between the two frames, you'll see Collin's flipping the bat over, and he never gets into a power V move before his hands turn over. So we'd like to see Collin focusing on extending the bat towards the shortstop side of first base and getting into that power V move down the plane of the ball before he turns his hands over and completes his swing. Now you notice though that Collin's maintained an excellent posture, and actually his front leg became firm at contact. Okay, so let's compare Collin's positions with J.D. Drew. So you notice J.D. Drew, as he was striding forward, he also was loading the shoulders and coiling. Let's compare Collin. As he's striding forward, the shoulders are continuing to turn right there. Those last two moves right there. So let's take J.D. Drew to foot plant and short. Take Collin to foot plant and short. You notice very similar positions. The one thing J.D. Drew does is he's locked that front leg earlier, where you'll see Collin slight bend in his knee. But arm position is very nice. One difference, J.D. Drew is staying back just a little bit more on the ball, where Collin's head is over his back hip, and J.D. Drew's head is over his back knee. I think this enables J.D. Drew to wait and get the ball a little bit more on his front foot, or at the distance where his front foot is relative to the plate. Let's go further to contact. There's Collin's contact position. There's J.D. Drew's contact position. This was an outside pitch, so we see a little bit of extension on J.D. Drew's top hand. Collin's pitch was right over the plate, but both very similar positions. Okay, but here's where the difference of the swing is. There's where J.D. Drew goes into a power V extension after contact. Here's where Collin is, and he's already starting to flip his hands over. One more frame over on Collin. One more frame over on J.D. Drew. Still extension. He hasn't turned over yet. Turned over. Now J.D. Drew turns over. But you notice the nice solid positions that they have with their still on their firm front side. The last thing we want to look at with Collin is how much movement, how much lateral movement he has in his swing. And so what we have here is a shadow overlay. We have synced up the two images right after Collin has done his tap move, and so he's about to initiate his swing. You will see a shadow, which is what his starting position was, and then you will be able to follow his swing going forward in slow motion. Coil. Foot plant. Short. Contact. So you see there was a slight moving forward and a slight movement of an eye upward, but that may be counteracted by the video not being on a tripod and not being centered. But all in all, Collin is staying well within himself, not sliding forward, very rotational in his actual swing. So all looks good. So in summary, the things for Collin to work on are on his pre-step tap move, not going backwards, locking his front leg a little bit earlier at his short move, opening his front toe a little bit more to free up the hips, and his extension move down the plane of the ball slightly to the shortstop side of the infield.